Wow. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel made in Manchester. It's Manchester United versus Newcastle, and the team lineups are out. And we've actually had some changes. We've had a couple of changes, which I'm really interested to get into. So let us know your thoughts and feelings going into this. Are you nervous? Do you need a nervous poo before you watch this game? Do you think we could beat them? Do you think Newcastle are going to absolutely smash us? Where's your head at with the whole situation at the moment? Let's go through the lineup together. Good evening, anyone who's just joining, whether you are on TikTok or whether you are on YouTube. Starting in goal, we have Andre Onana. Praise the Lord. To not have a mistake tonight, or whether it's from a corner or a set piece or any kind of mistake, just cut it out completely. None of them, please. The back three consist of Matheus de Ligt, Harry Maguire, and Lisandro Martinez. I'll speak about those individual battles shortly, but I want to go for the team first. The middle four is Mazraoui, Christian Eriksen, Casemiro, and Diego Dalot at left wing back. I'm presuming because when Maz plays and when Dalot plays, he's always higher up on the right hand side, and Dalot's the opposite. And then the front three is actually Amad Diallo, Rasmus Højlund, and Joshua Zirkzee, which Chive on this channel has been calling for a while. He's wanted to see Zirkzee and Højlund together, with Zirkzee kind of dragging people out of areas, which Højlund can then exploit. It kind of makes sense, doesn't it, really, when you think about it? So to see them two together could be very interesting. But the thing that springs to mind instantly as soon as I see that is that back three and the middle of the park, because Old Man Eriksen and Casemiro together, both of them haven't got the legs. It's not as if you kind of hindered on one part. I know Ugarte can't play, so you haven't really got many options, have you, when you consider it? I mean, Collier is the only one who's got legs about him, and he hasn't played since Barnsley, I think, is it? The last time Toby Collier played, and he's not going to chuck him into a game like this anyway. So he's obviously gone with the experience, but if you look at Newcastle United in the middle with Gomares and Tonali and Joe Linton, they're going to run them two absolutely ragged. I'm telling you now, they're going to run them ragged. The back three is fine if you're a bit pragmatic, which I don't expect them to be at Old Trafford. I expect them to try and maintain possession and control the game, but Newcastle won't allow that simply due to the fact of the way they press. They're so intense, they shift it quickly, and they're a proper, energetic, full-on. I spoken about this team in the preview as almost like our kryptonite. It's going to be really difficult, this, with that set of profile of players. Like, for me personally, I think Mainu, I'd rather have Mainu in there than an Eriksen or Casemiro. It's all cool saying we want, like, cool heads, and you need legs and energy, and he's going to provide much more of that. I would have rather have had Yoro in there, maybe move Matheus de Ligt centrally and put Yoro on the right as the right-sided centre-half. I'd rather have Mazraoui, to be honest with you, at left centre-half as well, instead of Martinez. And then have, if you want to go with Anthony at wing-back, maybe do that. I don't know, it's difficult, isn't it? Because it's not as if you've got obvious options. But against Newcastle, playing Christian Eriksen, that's a mistake for me. That's a mistake for me. Obviously, Amorim knows a lot more about football than I do. He's the manager of Manchester United for a reason. I understand that. But based on what I can see on that pitch there, that is the wrong decision. Individually, look, Mazraoui will always give you an 8 out of 10 performance. I'm not necessarily worried about him. The only time he's had a bit of a blip it's been basically the Spurs game, hasn't it, when he gave away the penalty. Apart from that, he's solid week in, week out. Diego Dalot is just 50-50. You never know what you're going to get from him. And then Amad had a bit of a even Amad, who's, regarded as one of our best players of the season so far, is gone really quiet in that forward line. So it's worrying. The other big, massive talking point, which a lot of people are mentioning, and I completely understand it, is the fact that, let me just tilt this a little bit because it's annoying me, and push it up. Why is it doing that? Sorry, people. Is the fact that Marcus Rashford is on the bench. He's back in the team. So, obviously, he missed the Wolves game. How many games has he missed now? 3, is it? I think. There's been that many games, it's all a blur in my head. But Rashford is back on the bench, so that's an option. So clearly, either there's 2 things ongoing here. One, Amorim is really desperate and is thinking, I just need attackers, and because the front line is so dead, I mean, we had a periods under Ten Hag where we'd struggle, but it's not even been as bad as it is at the moment. It's because obviously you've moved into this setup where you have 3 at the back and then 2 in midfield. The wing backs can't push on as much as they want. They're not really natural wing backs. So then the attack becomes isolated in these situations there, and then the inside forward roles don't really suit Garnacho or Rashford or any of them. So you actually look, the most important areas are the wing backs and the 2 attacking midfielders behind the striker, and they're the ones where we struggle the most, isn't it? So it's a struggle, man. It's a struggle. I don't trust these players. I don't trust this team at all. I'm hoping and praying that we get the job done, and I'm trying to have almost false confidence. Will you have some false confidence with me, people? Because that's where I'm at a minute. I don't see it. I don't see it at all with that team. I think you're going to get overrun. I think you're going to get physically bullied. And there's a lot of worries for me. I don't want to be that negative guy. I really, really don't. But it's just how I feel. So get your thoughts and feelings in the comments. I'm going to get to in a minute. I'm going to read out the YouTubes first. Charlie Malman, this setup, we have already lost. We've not scored a single goal with Dallo or Maz as wing-backs. There's a couple of people pushing for Ahmad. I've got a hair on me. Can I just get this off? Because it keeps tickling me. I've just seen it in the light then. Oh, you know when you got a hair tickling you? Fucking hell. Blah. I think it's gone. Anyway, what was I going to say then? Don't know. I'm very concerned about the next 3 games. It's going to wipe us completely or just scrape some sort of dignity. Only good news is that Olmo failed to be registered by Barcelona, so maybe there is a loan there. Yeah. I mean, the January window opens in a couple of days, innit? So we've got plenty of time to discuss that. Ahmad is not good at 10 as a right wing back. He is on fire. Rashford is in the squad because Ugarte and Bruno are suspended and no one in the academy is ready for first team football but the young defender. Drive past Old Trafford on way home from work. The fans are there. They deserve a good performance tonight. They absolutely do. Especially when you're charging premium fucking prices. When you're charging £66 to watch, a championship level team. It's a bit embarrassing, isn't it? So hopefully they deliver the performance of the ticket prices in which they're charging. I'd say absolutely spot on with that, Paul, as always. But do smash the like on the video for us and subscribe to the channel. We're getting closer than ever to 10k. I mean, I don't know what it is at the minute, but it's not far away. I think we're just under 250 from hitting that impressive milestone, one might say. So really, really interested for that. Interested to see actually how we utilise our bench tonight as well. So let's have a look at the subs bench and let's see who's on there, who we can bring on. If it'll pop up, if I can find it. There it is. So we've got Altay Bayende, Marcus Rashford, Tyrell Malacio, Lenny Yoro, Alejandro Garnacho, Anthony, Kobe Mainu, Toby Collier, and Godwill Kunkonke on the bench. Newcastle side, if anyone's interested in that and they want to know who they're playing with, they've got Dubravka, Trippier, Shah, Lewis Hall, and Dan Burn at the back. I think that's the exact back 4 that played in their last game. They have Joelinton, Tonali, and Bruno Guimaraes. And then they have Jacob, Murphy, Isaac, and Gordon. So, yeah, pretty much their strongest team at the minute. I think Tino Livramento is injured. And they've got a couple of other ones. But that's not far away from being their strongest team, I would probably say. Especially that front 3. Jacob Murphy, Anthony Gordon and Isaac. I don't even feel like I've spoken about them yet, but I'll get onto them when I get into like the Newcastle section. So that is the team that we are playing tonight, and they will be up for it, despite what any records tell you or say, because it'll say Newcastle are not favourites to win this, and it's bullshit. Listen, Newcastle are flying at the minute. If they win this, they go above Bournemouth and they go above Man City, and there's conversations that start happening again about Champions League football and stuff. So they will be well up for this, and they will be all over us like a rash. So, and the Old Trafford crowd at the moment, it'll be nervy, be very, very nervy. And I'm telling you, from minute 1, it'll be nervy. I can see it. But look, you just got to try and hope and go in with some kind of false optimism, because if I don't know who else is. You know what I mean? We're getting hammered. There we go. That's the positive. Are you ready for this? This is from Sahil Hussein. We are getting hammered. Isaac and Gordon are going to absolutely cause mayhem to our back line. There we go. He's right, though. He's right. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. I get it. Chad Dickenbottom says it's like we are forfeiting with Dallow at left wing back. It is, but there is no one else who can play it. I know there's Malacia on the bench, but you can't tell me he's been, grabbing at the opportunity and pulling the manager and, standing out. He's not been, he's probably been worse than Dallow has in that position. So, yeah, a lot of work to be done, a lot of work. I'm just concerned about how we match their energy. It's not something you can... you can work on set pieces midweek. You can work on the defensive line and the timings and all these kind of things. One thing you can't really do is, all right, lads, let's get fitter all of a sudden. Let's get stronger all of a sudden. Ericsson, I want you to do 10 burpees, 10 press-ups. I want you to do 10 laps around Old Trafford and don't come back until you get magically fitter and can run laps around Joe Linton. You can't do it, can you? So I think they will play on that tonight. I think Eddie Howe will be well aware of it, and I think they're going to be aggressive. I think they're going to be all over us, and it's going to be a difficult game, innit, people? Very, very, very difficult. I went back and did a bit of a case study on them to see where they are prone or where the weaknesses kind of lie with Newcastle, and obviously the past couple of games, I think the past 3 games, they've kept a clean sheet. They've won like 3-0, 4-0, 3-0, so they haven't conceded any goals. So I had to go back to the Brentford game to see the goals they conceded there, because they lost that game 4-2, but this was before they started going on the run and finding balance in the team. And I think Newcastle, they've started to sit Tonali a bit more and let Bruno go express himself a bit, and they just found that balance perfectly. And same with the front three now. I mean, Newcastle fans will call people like Jacob Murphy a championship player, but again, the past 5-6 games, he's probably got more goals and assists, or at least as many as our forwards have, some of our best forwards. So it's a bit crazy when you think of it like that. But I had a look at the last few matches, and I looked at the goals that they conceded, and there wasn't necessarily like a pattern of goals that they, you know what I mean? Like, we watch United, it's set pieces. We are statistically the worst team in the league for set pieces in terms of conceding, and we're right near the bottom. So with Newcastle against Brentford, there was a quick switch of play where they could get in at him with Mberno. We kind of cut in and put a nice finish in there. So they exploited the gap where Ahmad would usually operate. So that's maybe something to keep an eye on. There was a mistake at the back. I think I can't remember who it was who made the mistake, but Visser capitalised on it and scored. Long ball from Flecken, I think it was, and then there's a flick on and they score. And then the fourth one, Tonali gives it away in the middle of the park. There's a combination from Brentford and they go and finish it. So that's what I mean. There's no, kind of individual one you can focus on. You know what I mean? They're all separate. So, and this was 3-4 games ago. So as a coach, you're looking at it, you're like, where are we going to get joy here against this Newcastle side? Newcastle fans will know better. I do watch them week in, week out, but not to the extent I watch highlights, for example. I don't see them in the full game, so I'm sure a Newcastle fan could probably tell you better in terms of where we can get them properly. But yeah, there's my analysis on them and where we get. I mean, the back line, if you want to talk about a back line, I don't think that's good. We obviously had Dubravka at Man United who absolutely shit the bed, didn't he? When was it a cup game in December, and he started, and under the Old Trafford lights, I mean, he just completely shit himself. And still had the cheek, by the way, to go home with like a Carabao Cup winners medal. What, you cheeky bastard. He played about 2 games, and he's taken home a medal. Crazy. But you've got Dubravka in net, you've got Dan Burn, you've got Shah, who's not bad, but and you got Lewis Hall, who's actually been really, really good for Newcastle and could start pushing it up into that England contention, especially with Chilwell and Shaw's injury issues at the moment. And then Kieran Trippier is obviously experienced, but is getting a little bit leggy at the minute, so maybe that's something as well you can consider. On paper, they're not actually that talented in reality, but together they've been a pretty solid unit at the moment. So how do you get home? You have to be confident on the ball. I'll tell you that first and foremost, because the way Newcastle press, the intensity, you don't get a second on the ball. And that, again, comes back to the midfield. Eriksen's quite clever. He's not too bad. You can't really pressure him just because of the way he is. I mean, I know it happened against FC20 in Europa League, where he got his pocket pinched and they went and scored, but that was a rarity for him. Someone more like Casemiro is someone I would focus on. And usually at the end of these pre-match build-ups, we do a bit of a betting slip. Casemiro tonight is definitely going to feature on that in terms of how many players fouled, in terms of how many tackles Casemiro's made and yellow cards, etc. Casemiro's definitely someone to watch because he's been out of the frame for a while. That's a brand. I can't remember the last time Eriksen and Casemiro played together. I don't know if they have necessarily under Amorim, So that'd be interesting. Physically, it's going to be tough, lads. I'll tell you that. Leacher is the captain tonight. Interesting. People know my thoughts on Sandro Martinez. I absolutely love him as a human being. I think he's got what you want as a character in terms of the way you apply yourself in football. He's a professional. All that stuff is fantastic. But in terms of long-term future in this system, I really like him on the ball when we have it. He's great. He's perfect for it. But off the ball, I have mega question marks about the Sandro Martinez channel defending. Just not for me personally. I mean, it's great that he's the captain tonight because you look at that team, you're like, well, who else is going to be the captain? He's not going to give it to Harry Maguire because he was the one who had it stripped from him. Although you can argue the resilience that he's shown, and there could be a question mark on him, but he's not going to give it him. De Ligt has only just joined the club in the summer, although he could be a contender in a few years, I would probably suggest. And the others, you're like, Casemiro, maybe. Who else? So, yeah, if you're giving it Leacher, then fair enough. Let's just hope he has a good game, because them three in particular tonight are going to needs to be switched on, especially when Newcastle have a bit of a quick transition. They're going to have to be on the toes. And sometimes with Sandro, he's over-aggressive, or he'll step in too quick and they'll, space him behind. I remember that against Porto, so keep an eye on that. Tune in for the review. I've had 5 pints. Yeah, me and Sam are doing the review. I'll say me and Sam, probably just me, because Sam will be all over the place if he's had 5 pints, I'm guessing. But yeah, me and Sam will be live after it, discussing it. Hopefully a dub and a decent performance rather than a miserable 3-0 loss. But I think I know which way it's probably going to go. Casemiro will score tonight, a header. Hey, remember the Carabao Cup final? Good old times. Tonight's first season, Casemiro. Luke Shawcross as well. Dubravka has agreed to join Al-Shabaab next month. Oh yeah, that tells you everything you need to know then, innit? United got an end goal drought tonight, surely. Listen, we all talk about this. This community on TikTok and YouTube, we always say the same things before a game, and then after it we go, oh yeah, shit. Yeah, we are shit. I forgot. You just need that little reminder, don't you? It's the hope. And I don't blame anyone for having hope. Don't blame anyone at all. This is just what the club does to you. It's what it does to you. So, yeah. Some quotes coming in from Ruben Amorim on Marcus Rashford being back in the squad. He says selection, and we have a lot of players outside, so he's in. Like I said, every week I choose my players. He was there to be chosen, and this time he's here. But, I mean, if you're Marcus and you're hearing that, it's not convincing, is it? It's not like he said he was absolutely outstanding in training. I couldn't say no to him being in the squad. He's in here for a reason. That's the one where you're like, yeah, that fills me with positivity. The fact that he said selection and we have a lot of players outside, so he's in. That's like, we haven't got anyone else, mate, to go on the bench, so you're on. So, how long will he give him? Will he give him any minutes at all? And what effect does that have? If he comes in and then becomes the best attacker? It's like, has he done his trick? Has it worked? Can you sit there as a fan and say, yep, he did the right thing to drop Rashford, he's come back in and he's scored? Because, again, you've seen it before, haven't you? Ten Hag did it with him. He went off against Wolves. Or he didn't start against Wolves, sorry, because this disciplinary thing. Came on and scored, and then was like, oh, he's back again, and then he shit the bed. So it's almost like a pointless exercise, isn't it? You know what I mean? As in, even if it's just a goal, I'll fucking take it in a minute. We are so shit up top in terms of goals scored. We're just struggling, really struggling. And I think a big part of that is Rasmus and Xerxes. And people will say, you don't want to be too harsh because they're only young, they're 21 and 20. Then why are they starting for United? Why are they starting? The age of now with pressure, it's changed from like back in the day. You've got players winning, Premier League Player of the Season, and Foden, who's how old's Foden? 22, 23. Haaland's like a similar age. Go over to Liverpool, Gakpo flying for them at the moment. He's 23, 24. Like, that 21 to 23 age range is like it's becoming more of a maturity now, especially in how competitive football is at the moment. So I'm not having this kind of excuse for saying, oh well, there's still 21, 22. Like, it's time to start kicking on. You paid £70 million for Rasmus Højlund. It's like, yeah, you want to put faith in him. He shouldn't. I always say this all the time. I feel like a fucking broken record. He shouldn't be starting for United, and neither should Xerxes. None of them should be doing. Look at the opposite striker for Newcastle, arguably the best striker in the league. Because he has his injury issues and sometimes he inconsistencies at times, but when he is fully fit and firing, Alexander Isak is one of the best strikers in Europe. He's unbelievable, and that's the level of quality that you need. Look at what fucking Mohamed Salah's doing for Liverpool at the minute. Goal involvement's just absolutely off the charts. Every team has a player who they can rely on and who they can trust on and be like, that's the guy. Chelsea have Cole Palmer. They all have someone who can get, he's going to do something. We have no one to look up to and say, yeah, we might be playing shit, but at least he's playing tonight. We don't have it at all, do we? You know what I mean? People want to make people like Ahmad that kind of guy, but this is his first proper season embedded into the team. He's literally barely got a sniff under Ten Hag. So even he needs time to, get going. John D says United to get smoked, most likely. Catch you soon off to the pub. Medication needed. See you later, Steph. Are you going to the pub tonight to watch Stephanie? Hope you're doing well. That's from Jarlath. Chivi saying finally Xerxes and Højlund starting. I did mention that at the start for you, Chivi. I know you've been wanting to see that for a while. Cookhold saying you got to trust poor Amad Diallo. I don't think it's poor Amad Diallo. I think Amad Diallo's been fine. But again, the expectation is kind of like, people are comparing him to Saka already. On the Xerxes thing, Amarin's just said it will play in the left 10 position. That's where we have him on the mat, although it does look like left wing. Obviously, it's a left 10. So, yeah, so we needed strength. If you look at our games, sometimes we are too light. Against this team, power is really important. I think Xerxes plays really well between the lines, so we will try him today. This dynamic is interesting. You don't have a lot of time to train. It's just to prepare the next game, and then a lot of things that you should address, you don't have the time, so it's more difficult, but I think we'll have more time to train now. And how many times do you want to say the same thing there? But we also know with these bad results, it's really hard to sell an idea, and the same thing, but with more time. Yeah. A couple of weird things that, journalists, honestly, they baffle me. I was wondering when we were going to play both Højlund and Xerxes on the pitch together. It's an experiment. We've been experimenting a lot, haven't we, recently? So, yeah. Ugarte should be in midfield. He's a beast. Ugarte is suspended. Oh, trust me, he would be in the middle of that park. He would be playing. He's picked up too many yellow cards, which is an Ugarte thing, and it just given the way he plays, he is just an output monster in terms of like tackles and interceptions. So he's one of those players who's always going to pick up that amount of yellows. And then Kobe Mainu is another one. In fairness, he weren't great the last game, but I would still much rather have Mainu in that midfield than an Eriksen. Just for me personally. But then, I don't know. And my brain, with this team, my brain's just pickled. I never know what to say or what to do because it's just the most inconsistent roller coaster of a team you've ever seen in your life. Please watch Højlund today. He's the most unbearable striker we've ever... Listen, I'm with you. He gets a bit of a pass because he's young, but Højlund's first touch is for a striker who's playing in the Premier League, it's one of the worst first touches I've ever seen. Genuinely. Even if it's him receiving the ball or it's him trying to take a stride with it, it's awful. It's awful. And then that kills the full attack then completely. Just quickly talk about Newcastle. Typically play with a 4-3-3. I've already been through the lineup for them tonight. They've got Dubravka in net. They've got Trippier, Fabian Schär, Dan Burn, and Lewis Hall. They've got Tonali, Guimaraes, and Joe Linton, which is actually a really well-balanced midfield. And then they've got Gordon, Isaac, and Jacob Murphy up top. A win would take them above Bournemouth and Manchester City into the top 5, which, given on the coefficient rankings with Europe at the minute, which means they would probably get European football. Because you've got Chelsea, I think, who were first in the Conference League. You've got Liverpool at the top of the Champions League, and then the Europa League. The odds are probably saying Spurs or United could go quite far in that competition. So the coefficient, we should be fine in terms of top 5. Well, we shouldn't, because we ain't getting anywhere near that. But Newcastle, if they finish there, then they should get European football. Last 5 fixtures, 4 wins and one loss against Brentford. It'd be interesting to see where they could finish, because the narrative with Newcastle, the narrative with them, I remember a couple of weeks ago, Newcastle fans were talking about them, like, Eddie Howe might go. You had all, linking him with England and stuff, obviously before the Tuchel thing happened. But there was a lot of, like, murmurs saying, well, has he really taken, he's been here a couple of years now, and, we're at the bottom half of the table. I think this was just after the Brentford game. People talked about getting sacked. Maybe we can bring someone in and da-da-da. And now, like, a couple of games down the road, and it's like, oh, yeah, look, we're back up there. Eddie Howe's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and da-da-da. It's just crazy how the narrative is flipped. And it goes to show how much an impact one striker can have when he is banging form like Isaac is. I remember the goal he scored against Liverpool. Fuck me. He is a monster of a player, Isaac. And he is going to be a handful tonight. So the defenders better be on it, trust me. Defence plus better when De Ligt is playing. I agree with that. Lewis in an old-fashioned bumming today. I hope not. I hope the lads have lubed up at least, if it is going to be. And it's not a dry bumming. Nothing worse than a dry bumming, is there? Anyway, moving on. A few more quotes kind of flooding in, which we will touch on. Amarin saying, I'm trying to make the team compact because we suffer a lot of goals. Also, I'm really focused on set pieces, because if you try to remember the games, we have more possessions, sometimes more opportunities, but then one set piece completely changes the game, especially in these kind of moments when you suffer a game before. It's really hard on the team, so we try to use all that information. Yeah, the set pieces is something like, my God. For the love of God, please, if we concede another Olympico tonight, I think I might do a moonsault off the Manship Canal. Just full on nosedive into the local canal. Because it happened with Son. When it happens once, you're like, okay, it can happen once. It was shit from the goalkeeper. Let's move on and let's forget about this. And then it happens again against Wolves. Cunha does it, and you're like, okay, teams are obviously targeting this now. And you look at the size of Newcastle's squad. Oh my God. Dan Burn is basically James and a giant beanstalk. He's absolutely massive. Joe Linton's huge. Isaac's a big lad. I'm sure he's, 6'2", 6'3", something like that. Fabian Schär's quite a big lad. Joe Linton, who I just mentioned him then. Yeah. Like, they've got big players in there. And even the goalkeeper's like a fucking tree, innit? I know Nick Pope's out today, but they've got tall players. So I can just see it in my mind already. People might as well already practice it, or already just so it doesn't hurt as much when it does happen. When it gets to the 37th minute and it's like corner from Kieran Trippier, Dan Burn has scored from a corner. And it's basically just Dan Burn just lying back on Onana, and it just does one of them, just a little flick on. I can see it. That's the prophecy for today, people. I'm telling you. Let me ask a question, actually. And look, I know this, I appreciate this, not everyone's a United fan in the YouTube or in TikTok, but do you think United got a chance of winning this tonight? Be genuine. Anyone, and don't just say it for the sake of it, honestly, as a fan, does anyone think United can win this game? No. I actually do, yes. That's from Ashley Fitch. Love the confidence, Ashley. Nope. We always have a chance. Josh saying no on YouTube. Hopefully not. That's from Stephen. I think he's a Newcastle fan. Stephen Young, if you're a Newcastle fan, talk to me. Where can we get at Newcastle? Because I said I've done a bit of a case study. I've been and watched the last 5 games, and I can't really see any weaknesses at the minute. Talk to me about, struggles. Because they're flying at the minute, aren't they? Absolutely flying. Chivy saying, I know it's an unpopular take, but I think we get a lot more in offence from Cass and Ericsson as a partnership. Defensively, it's crap, but we see more forward line-breaking passes from them both. Yeah, with Casemiro, we know he's got that first time in behind. And for Ahmad, that could be super beneficial. So those kind of things I get. Ericsson on the ball is great. But is it worth it when you have as much of a struggle off the ball? That's my only concern. You know what I mean? Have a good balance with Tonali playing in the 6th role. Yeah. I'm desperate that we beat those Geordies. They're just unbearable. Do you know what? I'm not. And you make a point about the YouTubers. You just remind me of something there. I with the Newcastle United fan base, I take no issue with whatsoever. So let me get that out there first and foremost, right? It's the YouTubers that I fucking... And even their fans probably can't stand them either. That Lewis Bowden and True Geordie, I've never seen two YouTubers, if you want to call them that, get as much excitement out of United. Like, even if it could be a game that's not even associated with with Newcastle whatsoever, has no effect on them. If we lose a game or play shit, I've never seen someone get so much joy out of it. It's fair enough if it's Liverpool, if it's a genuine rival, or Man City or Arsenal or something like that, you understand it because you're like, local rival. We had beef back in the day. Or Liverpool, it's like it's always a hot-headed rival. With Newcastle, you're like, are they still going on about the 90s? Like, is that why do you know what I mean? It can't make sense with Lewis Bowden because he's younger than me, so he won't remember the 90s. I don't get it. They seem to find so much joy out of United being poor. It's bizarre to me. Very, very strange. For a team who haven't won a trophy since 1956, it's fucking bizarre. Very, very strange. I think you'll play better without Fernandes in the team. Yeah, Bruno's... I mean, I've not even spoken about Bruno. Yeah, obviously he's not in the side today. I think that's probably speaks volumes, doesn't it? That the fact I haven't spoken about Bruno not being in the team yet. He's really a kind of a Jekyll and Hyde player who, like, sometimes he's really good and the United fans love him, but then when he's bad and he does things like the Wolves game where he gets sent off, it's stupid, it's naive, and you don't really expect that from someone who's played as many games as he has and someone who's supposed to be the captain. It's a bit stupid. The thing I'll say about Bruno, and I've said it for a good few weeks now, in that where Xerxes playing today, and I think we'll have a similar issue, pace, he just does not have enough pace. When he gets into, when he pushes out wide a little bit. So what's he going to do? He's not going to take on his man. He's going to cut in. And then it becomes more predictable. When you have a player like Matheus Cunha, who can do that running side of the game, you as a defender, then you're like, oh shit, he can go past me. So then you start to, you could be manipulated then. I don't think you can necessarily with Bruno. We need pace in those areas. Pace and creativity. If we have a blend of two, that'd be great. Kieran saying we're going to get hurt tonight. The balance in that team is horrid. We're in a real tough patch. Yeah, spot on, mate. Absolutely spot on. Yeah, the streamers are a pain, says Paul. We've had more comments from Newcastle fans on our preview than any other fan. John D, very unlikely. We're predictably unpredictable. Who knows? I'd like to see the wingers on both the ends every time we switch to two wingers after 60 minutes. People going back and forth. Yeah, I just want to win today just so I can just say that to, True Geordie and Lewis Bowden. Just give them one of them. I'd have played Ahmad, Rashford and Garnacho as the front three. Pace galore. Lewis Jackson saying 4-0 Newcastle's my shout. Thanks for the vote of confidence, Luke. DW 4-0 Newcastle for me. Thanks for the vote of confidence, DW. Yeah, everyone's flying into this game, aren't they? Can't wait for it. I'm going to do my betting slip in a minute. I'll let you know what I'm putting on it. Because I have a feeling I know what's going to happen in this game. I could just see the narrative being written already. Here's a stat that Sky Sports have just put out, which I think is interesting. So, right wing back, Premier League games under Amorim. So, minutes 354. We've scored a total of 9 team goals. When it's been Dalot or Mazraoui, 276 minutes, we've had 0 team goals. And tonight it's Dalot and Mazraoui. So, good luck, people. Good luck. I did like Ahmad at wing back, but then also we have no attackers that are in form at the minute. So it's like push him up there. Maz at wing back. I'd rather suffer there than in the forward line where we're really suffering at the minute anyway, if that makes sense to anyone. Hello, mate. Hello. Our midfield's too slow. Darren saying, I think it'll go either way, but banking on Newcastle to get 3 points. Yeah. Look, the favourites tonight. I don't know why, like, this people, even like pundits in the game and ex-footballers talked about, well, you know, they've got a poor record at Old Trafford and da-da-da. I don't mean shit. I don't mean shit. If you've watched both teams recently, you know which way this game is going to go. But I hope we win. I hope we win. I hope we at least put in a fucking performance that you can come away from for the fans that have gone there and be like, we you know, we did something. We put in. We give it to him, basically. I'm just going to switch my camera over because, wow, that's really dark. Just 2 seconds, people. I think my thingy camera might die, so I'm just doing this in preparation. That is really dark, isn't it? My God. What's going on there? It's what you have to do when you're on fucking OBS on your own. Live editing. I'll just put that away. It's just in case. I think we've actually... For some bizarre reason, I've been charging the camera for 3 hours, but then it dies. What are we, 30 minutes into a stream or something? Fucking bizarre. Honestly, don't get technology at all. Age thing, if you live through the 90s, you hate Man United. I get that. That's why I'm saying there's credit. Maybe True Geordie's got something about him. But also, like, how long do you want to hold on to things for? From the 90s? That's like 30 years ago almost. Hoyland and Xerxes in the starting lineup doesn't fit. That's from Dan. They both are similar kind of player, both being better with hold-up play, but we lack runners. I don't agree with that necessarily. I think Hoyland's a channel runner, and Xerxes drops a lot more. I won't class Hoyland as a player who can hold the ball up. He couldn't hold a straight face at a funeral. Rasmus, genuinely. 3-0 Newcastle, 3-1. Bad time to play them. Was listening to TalkSport, and the odds for both teams to win were the same earlier. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with that. Paul's saying it's like a top sports psychologist has gone to Premier League teams and told them they can win. Whoever it is, she's amazing. Rashford, I think, should start instead of Xerxes. Rashford will get on. He'll get on. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Rashford scores in this game, honestly. Comes off the bench and scores. I think we'll probably be 2-0 down. He'll bring a Rashford on and we'll go and score. Wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. Amrin says, if you start changing because the result is the end for any coach, I was hired because of my idea. Spot on. He's absolutely spot on with that. I don't want him now to start, you know, kind of pandering to these players and saying, oh, sorry, guys. Sorry, my system hasn't worked out. What we'll do is... We'll go back to the 4-2-3-1 for you guys tomorrow. Garnacho, you can go back out on the left. Marcus, I'm going to play you up top so you can run in behind. Cass and Ericsson back together again in the midfield. Ironically, I know they're starting tonight, but let's go back to what you used to, and you can kind of churn some form of results out. Doing that is career suicide for a coach. So stick to your principles, Amarin. Obviously, you've been hugely successful with this before. It was a dark period at Sporting before he kind of went in, and then he won, 2 league titles with him. So I'm going to switch my camera over because that one has died. So let me... Oh, my God. That is so dark on there. Let me turn this up because I don't want to leave you people just yet. So let's do that. This is what happens when you are prepared. That'll do for now. I know it's not the best. It's not as good as the other camera, but... it'll do. It'll do. You know what I mean? We are finished, mate. Oh, it's not... Chill out, Dylan. It's not done just yet. Oh. Go back up there. Sorry, I'm dealing with, like, multiple things here at once. Should we do the betting slips then? We've changed it from score predictions to betting slips. So I'm going to give you 4 things... And I want this from everyone. So imagine you're on Bet365 or William Hill or whatever it is you want to call it. 4 things that's going to happen in this game. So it could be a booking. It could be a shot on target. It could be a yellow card. It could be an assist, basically. These are the things that I'm going to go with, okay? And you know what? I'm going to write it down just so I remember it because I feel like I'll forget. So I'm going to go... Casemiro, yellow card. Isaac, 2 shots on target. Joe Linton. Not Joe Linton. Over 1.5 fouls committed. Newcastle to win. There it is. Newcastle to win. Casemiro, yellow card. Isaac, 2 shots on target. Joe Linton, over 1.5 fouls committed. That is my betting slip that I will give you. Niz23 says Mazraoui over 1.5 fouls. Yeah, that's something as well. Especially with Gordon in behind him. He'll have his blinkers on. You know, tug at him a few times. Not in that way. Get your mind out the gutter. I can certainly see that for sure. Cass yellow, Dallo yellow, United 2-1, Rashi winner. I'll take that every day. Look, I know I'm being negative. I know I've been pessimistic about this game, but it is the reality of where we're at in a minute, people. Let's just be honest about that as United fans. It's where we're at. I desperately want us to win this game. We've had a fucking miserable year as United fans, bar the FA Cup final and winning that. And the Liverpool game where Ahmad scored the last minute winner, and obviously the City game recently. Bar that, it's been pretty shocking, hasn't it? We've had some shit games this season and shit moments, and it's been a rollercoaster period. So you want to give the fans something. It's it's at Old Trafford. It's the last game, your last game of 2024. Give them something. Give the fans something to cling on to. That's what I'll say. That's my message. If you like putting, you know what I'm going to do? Oh, no, my phone's there. I can't do it. What I can do, actually, though. You ready? I'm going to give a little... God, I weird. I forgot they're like fucking... What are they called? Wow, what are they called? Like earphones where you can't hear over noise cancelling. Jesus Christ. So, are you ready for this? I don't know if I shouldn't get copyright for it, should I? I don't think. I don't know if people will be able to hear this. Show Bluetooth devices. Can we set up to that one? Connect. Right. Also get rid of that because I don't want that there. You ready? I'm going to do a little 2-minute speech before I head off. How good it is, it's going to be, I'm not sure. So imagine you've got all the players in the dressing room. You go, right, lads. Don't know if people can hear that. Come here, mate. We've come to the end of the year. It's Old Trafford. It's Newcastle. There's 3 points on the line. We don't let these beat us at Old Trafford today. We don't do it. I don't care if Isaac's in form. I don't care if Gordon's in form. This is still Manchester United. You've got to take accountable. You've got to be accountable, should I say. I fucked it up. You've got to be accountable for your actions tonight. I don't want to see anyone not chasing balls. I don't want to see anyone not going into 50-50s. Win every single battle. And push and push and push for that win. No matter how hard it is. No matter what set pieces you've got coming your way. No matter what challenges you face. You go out on that pitch tonight and you do not come back into the dressing room until you return the 3 points. Let's do this together, people. Yeah? Let's have it. Glory, glory, Man United. Not one for speeches, but we'll take that. Right, enjoy the game, people. Me and Sam are going to be live after it. Okay, so make sure you come and join us for the review. You know, come rain, sunshine, whatever it is. Hopefully we'll see you all there. Get involved. It won't be live on TikTok for the review, so if you don't want to come on, hop over on YouTube and subscribe to the channel or just join us, then the link will be in the bio. It'll be straight after the game, literally like that. So hope to see as many of you there. Hope we get the job done. Let's see what United have got in store for us today to finish off 2024, people. Every single one of you, legends, thank you for interacting. Thank you for getting your comments in. Random guy saying, good night, everyone. Going to get cooked with a super chat. And thank you for that. And thank you for the positivity just before we're heading off. Yeah, I'll see you shortly, yeah.